The station was quiet in a way that made humans uneasy. Lieutenant Aaron Cole lay on the narrow bunk in his assigned quarters, eyes open, staring at the dull metal ceiling. The outpost circled a dead moon at the edge of mapped space, far from Earth, far from comfort, and far from anything that felt alive. The air recyclers hummed softly. The walls vibrated with the low rhythm of the station's rotation. Everything worked as designed, which somehow made it worse. Aaron had learned long ago that silence in space often meant something was about to break. He had returned from patrol less than an hour ago. No alarms, no alerts, no incoming messages from command. Just another long day of watching empty stars and pretending that this post mattered. Officially, the station was a diplomatic relay, a neutral place where species passed messages without meeting face to face. Unofficially, it was a human listening post, meant to observe the edges of alien politics without being noticed. Aaron rolled onto his side and closed his eyes, hoping sleep would come quickly. It did not. Instead, the door slid open. There was no warning tone, no knock. No request for entry. Aaron's hand moved on instinct, reaching for the sidearm secured to the wall beside his bunk. He was already halfway up when he saw her standing just inside the room. She was not human. She was tall, though not intimidating, with smooth, pale skin that reflected the room's light in a way that suggested it was not skin at all, but something stronger. Her eyes were large and dark, without visible whites, and they watched him with a calm that made his training scream. She wore a long, flowing garment made of layered fabric, wrapped around her body in unfamiliar patterns. Symbols were woven into it, glowing faintly as if responding to her presence. Aaron froze. Security protocols flashed through his mind. No unauthorized beings were supposed to be on this level. None were supposed to be able to open his door, yet here she was. He began. She stepped forward and closed the door behind her. Aaron's hand tightened around his weapon, but he did not draw it. Something about her posture told him this was not an attack. She did not move like a soldier. She moved like someone who expected the universe to obey. Without breaking eye contact, she reached up and slipped the garment from her shoulders. The fabric fell to the floor in a soft sound. Aaron's breath caught, not from desire but from confusion. Beneath the garment, she wore a close-fitting inner layer, smooth and seamless, covering her from neck to feet. It was clearly not meant to seduce. It looked more like armor disguised as clothing. She met his stare and spoke in clear, careful standard. "Move over." Aaron stared at her. "What?" he said. She gestured to the bunk, then to herself, as if the meaning should be obvious. "This space is now shared." Aaron stood fully, weapon forgotten, mind racing. "You can't just walk into a human officer's quarters and tell him to." "The door recognized my authority," she said calmly. "The station systems accepted my presence. This means the agreement still stands." "What agreement?" Aaron demanded. She tilted her head slightly, studying him, and for the first time uncertainty crossed her face. "You do not know?" "No," he said. "I really don't." She took a slow breath. "Then I chose correctly." Before Aaron could respond, the lights flickered. The station's hum changed pitch, becoming sharper, strained. A moment later, a distant impact shuddered through the floor. Aaron's training snapped into place. He moved to the wall console, fingers flying as he pulled up station diagnostics. Multiple contacts had just dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. They were not friendly. "Sit," he ordered, pointing to the bunk without thinking. She obeyed without hesitation. "Who are you?" he asked as he checked weapon status and emergency protocols. "My name does not translate easily," she said. "In your language, I am closest to what you would call a first daughter." Aaron paused. "Royalty?" "Yes." He looked at her again, really looked this time, and understood why the station had not stopped her. Diplomatic overrides, ancient ones. "Why are hostile ships entering this system?" he asked. "Because they are hunting me," she said simply. Another impact hit the station, stronger this time. Emergency lights flickered on, bathing the room in red. Aaron swore under his breath. "Why come to me?" She looked at him steadily. "Because your people are known for one thing above all others." "And what's that?" "When you give shelter," she said, "you do not surrender it." Aaron felt something cold settle in his chest. He activated the internal lockdown. Bulkheads began sealing across the level. "You understand," he said slowly, "that this station is not a fortress. If they want you badly enough, they will tear it apart." "Yes," she said, "and you still came." "Yes. Why?" She rested her hands on her knees. "Because my people made a mistake long ago. We believed strength was measured only in numbers and firepower. We forgot the old laws, the ones written before empires. She looked at him then, truly looked at him, as if weighing his entire species in a single gaze. The law of shared shelter, she said. The law that says when one stands alone against annihilation, another may choose to stand beside them, and once chosen, that bond cannot be broken without dishonor. Aaron exhaled slowly. You picked a human soldier you've never met. I studied your history, she said. Your wars, your failures, your sacrifices. Humans do not always win, but you are dangerous in one specific way. Which is, you do not retreat from those you have accepted as your responsibility. The station rocked again. Somewhere far below, metals screamed as something gave way. Aaron keyed his comm, no response. External channels were jammed. He turned back to her. If you're wrong, we both die, she nodded. If I am right, others will learn. Another warning flashed on the console. Boarding attempts detected. Aaron unclipped his weapon from the wall and checked the charge. He looked at the bunk, then at her. Move over, he said quietly and sat beside her. For the first time since she entered the room, she smiled, not with her mouth but with her eyes. Outside, the stars burned cold and silent, unaware that a very old promise had just been honored again by a species the galaxy still underestimated. The station shook again, harder this time. Warning lights pulsed red across the walls, and the soft hum of the station was replaced by sharp metallic groans. Somewhere deep inside the structure, a bulkhead sealed too slowly and paid the price for it. Aaron felt the vibration through the soles of his boots and knew this was no longer a distant threat. The enemy was already here. He stood from the bunk and moved to the weapons locker built into the wall. As it opened, the smell of cold metal filled the small room. He pulled out a rifle and checked the charge level. Full, too full maybe. This was not meant to be used inside a station full of fragile systems. Behind him, the alien woman watched in silence. Stay behind me, Aaron said. She did not argue. She rose smoothly from the bunk and positioned herself near the wall, hands folded calmly in front of her. Her composure bothered him. Humans panicked. Even trained soldiers felt fear when the walls shook like this. She looked as if she were waiting for a scheduled event. You still haven't told me your name, Aaron said while checking the door seal. In my culture, she replied, a name given during danger carries weight. If I give it now and you die, part of me dies with you. That's comforting, he muttered. The station's internal speakers crackled to life for half a second, then went silent again. Whatever was jamming them knew what it was doing. Aaron opened a tactical map. Enemy signatures moved through the outer ring, cutting through resistance that barely existed. The station had been built for neutrality, not war. It relied on treaties, not guns. They'll reach this level in minutes, Aaron said. Yes, she answered. You don't seem surprised. I calculated the probability before I entered your room. He glanced at her. And you still came. Yes. Another impact hit closer now. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Aaron made a decision. He activated a manual override and sealed the corridor outside his quarters. The door thickened, layers of alloy sliding into place. That buys us time, he said. And costs you an escape route, she noted. Humans don't always escape, Aaron replied. Sometimes we hold. She studied him again as if that single sentence confirmed everything she hoped to find. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time felt strange when death waited so close. Then the station went quiet, too quiet. The shaking stopped. The hum returned, weaker than before. Red lights faded to orange. Aaron frowned. That's not good. They have stopped firing, she said, which means they want me alive. The corridor door dented inward. Something heavy struck it from the other side once, twice. The metal bent, screaming under the force. Aaron raised his rifle and planted his feet. The door exploded inward. Shards of alloy flew across the room. Smoke poured in, thick and bitter. Through it came shapes, tall, armored figures with jointed limbs and glowing weapons. Their armor was angular and black, marked with the symbol of the coalition that ruled this sector through fear and force. Aaron fired. The rifle kicked against his shoulder, energy bolts slamming into the lead invader. The alien stumbled, armor flaring as its shields absorbed the hit. Not enough. They were built for battlefield combat, not close quarters. More shots. One fell. Another advanced. A bolt of return fire burned past Aaron's head and slammed into the wall behind him, leaving molten metal dripping to the floor. Stay back, he shouted. The alien woman did not move. Instead, she raised one hand. The symbols woven into her inner layer flared bright. The air in the room shifted. The next enemy shot slowed, visibly, as if passing through thick liquid. It struck an invisible barrier and dissolved into sparks. Aaron stared. "You could do that the whole time?" "Yes," she said calmly, "but it requires energy. I was saving it." "For what? For when your courage failed," she replied. Aaron gritted his teeth and fired again. The fight lasted less than a minute. When it ended, the floor was scorched, the walls burned, and the corridor beyond was littered with broken armor and lifeless bodies. Aaron's breathing was loud in his ears. He lowered the rifle slowly. "They'll send more," he said. "Yes," he looked at her. "You could have chosen a fortress, a fleet. Why one human soldier?" She stepped closer, her voice softer now. "Because fortresses fall, fleets retreat. Individuals decide." Another tremor ran through the station, but this one felt different. Not an attack. A shift. Aaron's console lit up with new signals, not hostile, human signatures. A relief fleet had dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. Aaron blinked. "That was fast." She tilted her head. "Your species responds quickly when one of its own is threatened," he swallowed. "They shouldn't even know we're under attack." "They know," she said, "because I allowed them to." "You contacted them?" "Yes. When I entered your room, I triggered a signal hidden within your station's oldest protocols, ones written when humans were still new to the stars." Aaron felt a chill. "You knew about those?" "They were not meant to be forgotten," she said. "Only ignored. Most species did." The station shuddered again, but this time from friendly fire as human ships engaged the attackers. Through a small viewport, Aaron saw flashes of light in the distance. Clean, precise strikes. Human tactics, direct, relentless. The alien woman watched as well. "They came," she said quietly. "They always do," Aaron replied. Her gaze remained fixed on the stars. "That is why the galaxy fears you, and why when all else fails, it comes to you." The station speakers crackled again, then cleared. "This is Captain Reyes of the UNSC Resolute. Any human forces respond." Aaron grabbed the comm. "This is Lieutenant Cole, station compromised but holding." There was a pause. "Lieutenant, scans show heavy enemy presence. We're pushing through. Hold on." Aaron looked at the alien woman. She met his eyes. "You did not move away," she said. "No," he answered. "That matters." Outside, the battle raged, and far beyond this forgotten station, unseen eyes were watching. Coalition observers, neutral traders, silent species who had long dismissed humanity as reckless and loud. They were watching a single human stand his ground, and they were beginning to remember why ancient laws once warned. From the small viewport, Aaron watched human ships move with sharp purpose. They did not scatter or hesitate. They advanced as a single will, pushing through the hostile formation with calm violence. Enemy ships tried to regroup, tried to surround them, but the humans cut through those attempts like blades through cloth. The station trembled again as a nearby explosion sent ripples through its frame. Captain Rey's voice came through the comm, steady and controlled. "Lieutenant Cole, we have established partial control of the system. Enemy resistance is stronger than expected. Status update." Aaron pressed the transmitter. "Boarding parties neutralized on this level. Station damage is heavy, but life support is stable." There was a brief pause. "Copy that. Scans indicate a high-value non-human presence near your location. Confirm." Aaron glanced at the alien woman. She gave a small nod. "Confirmed," Aaron said. "She's under my protection." Another pause. This one felt longer. "Understood," Reyes replied. "That's all we needed to know." The channel closed. The alien woman turned toward him slowly. "They did not ask for explanation." "No," Aaron said. "Humans rarely do when it comes to protection." She studied him for a long moment. "That is not how most species operate." "Most species aren't human," he replied. The station lights flickered again, then stabilized. Damage reports scrolled across Aaron's console. Power rerouting, hull breaches sealed, fires contained. They had survived the first storm. But the war outside was not finished. Enemy vessels began to retreat, pulling back toward the edge of the system, not fleeing in panic but withdrawing with purpose. This worried Aaron more than if they had scattered. "They are regrouping," he said. "Yes," she replied. "They will not forget this." "Neither will we." Silence settled between them, heavy but no longer threatening. She finally spoke. "My people believed humans were unpredictable, too emotional, too divided." Aaron smiled faintly. "We are all of those things." "And yet," she continued, "when the signal was sent, your response was immediate." He shrugged. "Someone knocked on our door." She stepped closer, her voice quieter now. "Do you know what will happen because of this?" Politics, Aaron said. Angry councils, threats, warnings. Yes, she agreed, and more. She activated a small device on her wrist. A projection filled the air between them, showing symbols, records, ancient texts written in languages long forgotten. The law of shared shelter is older than your species' presence among the stars, she said. It was created after a time of great destruction, when countless civilizations were erased because no one stood together. Aaron listened carefully. The law states that when one species offers shelter without demand and another accepts without force, a bond is formed. That bond elevates both. And nobody follows it anymore, Aaron said. They fear it, she replied, because it limits power. Because it demands responsibility. The projection shifted. New symbols appeared. My presence here and your refusal to abandon me has reactivated the law. Aaron felt a slow weight settle in his chest. What does that mean? It means, she said, that humanity has been witnessed fulfilling the role of guardian. Guardian, he repeated. A species that stands between destruction and those who cannot defend themselves, she said. Not rulers, not conquerors, protectors. Aaron laughed softly. We didn't sign up for that. You did not need to, she answered. You acted. Outside, the last enemy ships vanished into faster-than-light escape. The system fell quiet again, but this time it felt earned. Human ships remained, forming a defensive perimeter around the station. Rescue teams docked within minutes. Medical personnel rushed through the corridors. Engineers followed. Marines secured every level with disciplined efficiency. Aaron stepped aside as a team entered his quarters, scanning for threats. She's with me, he told them. One of the Marines nodded without question. As they escorted them toward the command level, station crew stared openly at the alien woman, some with fear, some with awe. Word had already spread. At the command deck, Captain Reyes stood waiting. She was older than Aaron, with lines on her face carved by years of service. Her eyes took in the damage, the alien guest, and finally Aaron himself. You held, she said simply. Yes, ma'am. Reyes turned to the alien woman. On behalf of humanity, you are welcome under our protection. The alien woman inclined her head. I accept. A ripple passed through the assembled officers. No one spoke, but everyone felt it. Something formal, something final. Reyes gestured toward a secure chamber. We'll begin diplomatic protocols immediately. The alien woman looked at Aaron. He hesitated, then spoke. She stays under my direct watch. Reyes studied him for a second, then nodded. So be it. Hours later, as emergency repairs continued and reports flooded in from across the system, Aaron stood by the viewport again. The alien woman joined him. The galaxy is already reacting, she said. Signals are spreading. Observers are recording everything. Let them, Aaron replied. You may face consequences, she warned. We always do. She turned to him fully now. My true name is Selethira. He met her gaze. Aaron Cole. She repeated it carefully, as if committing it to memory. Aaron Cole. Days passed. The station was repaired enough to function. Human fleets maintained a presence far longer than required. They were sending a message. Other species noticed. Delegations arrived, some curious, some cautious, some afraid. They asked questions, demanded explanations. Human diplomats answered calmly. We were asked for shelter, they said. We gave it. That is all. That is enough. Selethira spoke before the Interstellar Council for the first time in centuries. She told them what she had done, why she had done it, what she had seen. She spoke of a single human soldier who did not ask for reward, status, or permission, who did not move away when danger arrived. The council chambers fell silent. Old records were reopened. Ancient laws re-examined. The law of shared shelter was no longer a forgotten myth. It was alive. Weeks later, Aaron received new orders. The station would be reclassified, no longer a simple relay. It would become the first officially recognized Guardian outpost. Aaron stood once more in his quarters, now repaired, now different. The bunk was still narrow. The walls still metal. Selethira stood beside him. You could refuse this path, she said. Humanity could walk away. Aaron shook his head. We won't. Why? He thought of Earth, of history, of every time humans had stood between danger and hope. Because someone has to, he said. She smiled, the same quiet expression she had worn when she first entered his room. She moved toward the bunk and gestured. Move over, she said. Aaron did, not because he was told to, but because some promises once made were never meant to be broken. Far beyond the station, across worlds that had once doubted and dismissed them, a new understanding spread. If the galaxy turned dark,